How big a role would you say music played in shaping your identity?
As a band?
As a person?
As a person. That's a deep question.
It's a pretty big one, really, yeah. Like, when I was like 12, 13, started playing bass, and then that was just it. Like, people would be out, like, that age, like, with their mates and stuff, and I was just in playing bass and listening to music, and at the time I was like, this is a bit sad, but
Look at you
now.
now.
Yeah, everyone's in bands now. So it's always been like pretty much a central thing for me.
Yeah, same. Like, not even being in bands and playing music, but just like listening to music as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's always been a thing. Like, I feel like it's always something I've like been able to connect with people on.
Yeah,
Like, if I'm uncomfortably socially or whatever, like, it's always something you can connect to people. I think it's very, like, I'm probably one of those people that can be pretty boring if I start talking about music. To people who don't
very
care.
interesting.
Yeah, well, if people care, maybe that's interesting, but if you don't care. I think it's pretty, definitely central to my personality as well, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's a good word. Like, central personality. Like, ever from, like, when me and Mark started playing in bands when we were really young and stuff, like, it's probably, like, even when you go to a job during the day, it's, like, one of the things I always think about is, like, oh, I can't wait to, like, my gig next week and stuff like that. In terms of, like, being in a band, like, it's quite a big thing. And then, like, and when an artist puts out something, one of your favourite artists puts out a new record, it's like, oh, man, I can't wait till, like, Friday. It's like, I can't wait. Like, we've been doing that a lot recently with, like, all the bands that we really like, a band called Frankie and the Witch Fingers and stuff like that, and we can't wait to hear it, and it's all we talk about. So yeah, I'd say it's all we think about in work half the time. It's all we'd rather talk about rather than work. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal for us, and for me personally as well.
Has the role it plays changed then, or is that kind of like a constant, what you're describing there? Has it been like that for a while? Or has the role that it plays in your life evolved and kind of developed?
I think it's changed in the sense that, like, when you're younger, it's more about, like, what you were saying, like, you were focused on getting better at your instrument and things like that. And, like, as much as I still want to be better at my instrument and get better at things like that, for me now it's more about taking in music as much as I can, I think. Like, what you were saying about, like, getting new records and, like, getting things coming out, and being excited about that. I would say that's more for me now. Like, playing is become such a, like, it was such a focus in my life for a long time, and then now it's just so stable, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, it changed a wee bit, like, in terms of, like, again, when we were younger, like, there's probably a wee bit more of you thinking, oh man, I'm going to be massive one day. And then now it's just like, nah, it's never going to happen, man. Like, and we just do it for a bit of a laugh. And
Love that positivity, man.
Positive mental attitude.
I mean, you never know, but no, but there's more of a, like, we kind of just do it, like, the band stuff, like, for a bit more of enjoyment more than anything now. And it's obviously, like, nice to see each other and stuff like that. But I think more now, like, we do it because we actually enjoy the music, and there's no kind of, we always take it seriously, like, don't get me wrong, but I think, like, and there's always, like, an end goal to get, like, a record out or anything out at the moment. But yeah, it's, I don't know, I think I'm trying to say is we take it a bit more seriously when we're playing now, and it's still a bit more fun, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I kind of went from, like, I was quite unsociable, obviously, like, when I was younger, just, like, focusing totally on playing an instrument and listening to music, and then, I mean, as you progress and get a bit older now, like, music plays, like, a sort of social aspect in my, like, life now. So, like, the only time I go out these days is to practice, like, but prior to, like, lockdown and stuff, like, doing a gig was, like, you'd play a gig and then you'd also, like, have drinks and stuff after, so it became, like, the central focus of being out, essentially, as well.
Was that something that was there from the beginning, or was that, like, is that something that kind of developed, that social aspect of it? Was that something that drew to it in the first place, or was it something that kind of...
No, it's just, I think it's just, well, for us, we were pretty sociable at the start. Yeah. But it wasn't like the allure of, like, being in a band was because of the whole social aspect. It was just a thing. It's almost just like an afterthought when you start playing gigs and you're like, all right, okay,
It's an added bonus.
Yeah,
when you're like, when you get to play a gig and then, like, your mates come and stuff as well, like, not just the three of us. Like, we're obviously, when we go and travel and play shows, that's social for us.
Oh, yeah,
like, when you
totally,
get to play a show and, like, all your mates show up and then there's a whole thing after, and it's like, that's just like a big added bonus on top of it.
And it's good, like, when like tour, like I think it was last year we went to like Blackpool, and and then we had Manchester the night before, like probably like hardly anyone at a gig, but like, the added bonus is you get to like have a good drink with like two of your best mates like after.
Yeah, true.
It's really good.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make like the 4 people only being at the gig as bad. So, hello. But yeah, and enjoy it a bit more. Like going out of town and knowing that us three, sorry, can like have a good laugh after.
Who was excluded in there?
I don't know. I think I was excluding myself.
I want to pick up on as well. You mentioned how now that you're at a point where the playing isn't continually getting better because you've reached a point where you're pretty solid and pretty good at it. How does that then impact what you're writing when it kind of isn't developing quite as much in terms of skill level?
I mean, I don't think you can ever reach a point in anything in your life where you can't learn anything new about it. So like as much as maybe what I said was like I don't focus so much now as rehearsal and practice on myself.
Yeah, that's what I.
But like there's always things I can learn. And whenever I listen to anything, I always just go for the drums. And I always listen to the drums and think, oh, that's really cool. Like I wonder how he done that or how, whatever. And but in terms of our songwriting, I think we just try and make it as interesting as possible for us. Like, obviously, you're trying to write things that people will enjoy, but if you don't enjoy it, that's kind of pointless as well.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Yeah, we try and push ourselves. I think that's part of it as well. Like, I know you do that.
Yeah, and I think like we sometimes like probably before we didn't really practice maybe as much as we'd have liked, but now more recently we've like practiced more, and naturally with practicing more, you like individually we're getting better as well. So I actually think we're probably at a good point where when we are writing songs, it's like.
And I think we all kind of like to challenge each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like if Mark can do that, then I can do that on guitar. Like kind of bounce off each other. And
totally. Yeah,
it's quite a good thing. And I quite like that aspect. I've never been in a band before. I've played in drums in band before. And I'm not amazing. I'm not a drummer. But I've never got the kind of opportunity to kind of bounce off someone who, you do that, can I do that on guitar? Let's see if it works. And it's good. It's a good kind of way to be in a band, I think, and it's something I've never really experienced before, and it's good. It's really good. We're in a really good place, I think, as a band at the moment. So
when it comes to the energy levels of the band as well, and the music and the live show, how has that developed and evolved over time? Say comparison from the first show with Shred to the last one before all this started. I think we've all, even from the first show, I don't know, people could always tell that we really enjoyed ourselves, and it wasn't, I don't know, I didn't feel like, for me, maybe it's the first time I ever really tried to sing in a band, and that was a bit scary, a bit daunting at first, and others people can be critical and say I'm still not singing, but or shouting rather, but like I think like I'm a bit, in terms of me, I'm a bit more confident. I've always been confident with these guys because I know that they're really good musicians and I kind of work off them, but I'm a bit more confident now to on stage to kind of just let go and give the best performance I can give. I'm more confident in doing that now, so that's changed for me, I think, and it's kind of annoying that we can't do that right now because it's like frustrating and Does it make you more comfortable or less comfortable when the two guys in the band next to you are really good?
That's a good question. No,
just for you as well, not for us. It's your question.
I know. For me, no, genuinely, it's always more comfortable. What I feel bad about is when like Mark and Callum are so good, when they even mess up even the tiniest little thing, they'll think about it, and that's a good thing. They'll think about it, and it will kind of be like
that time.
What one?
Oh, there's a time it looks and like
that's on video as well. That's so annoying. That's on video.
And they'll think about it, and they'll go over it. I can just imagine them not being able to sleep at night, just thinking about that.
I was aye.
And actually, no one else in the crowd notices it.
No one.
So in that way, I feel quite like it's a bit shit for them, but like
because you mess up all the time. You don't.
I mess up all the time. I'm good.
I think playing with people. I've played in bands, and I won't say anyone. I've played in bands who are not that great, and I've played in bands that are really good. And that's in terms of individual musicians and also in terms of the collective. And playing with people who are good is 100% always better, and it makes you better. Yeah. Playing with people who are good at what they do makes you better at what you do.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's even more than just being like good at something. It's like actually being sort of passionate about what they're doing as well. So you've got like passionate, talented musicians. It's just I actually don't even really think about like either of the other two like when I'm playing, to be honest. Yeah. Like not in that way like, oh, I'm dreading this bit. I just sort of get on with it.
You don't need to.
No.
Aye, but it's obviously alright for us, but it's difficult for Harv because obviously we are.
Because he's shy.
Yeah, when I fuck up, people notice. But no, I'm so comfortable with them too, like, and working off them and stuff.
What emotion fuels you most when you're on stage?
Lust for life. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not like in terms of like. You mentioned it before. I'm quite happy like on stage and quite. I don't know, quite content. It's quite nice to get to like lose yourself and not like think about anything else other than playing. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, totally. It depends on like basically it depends on like how many folk are there as well. Like if you've got a big crowd and you're playing great and everyone like and the crowd are loving it, then there has been times I've been like quite a bit overwhelmed at like what you're doing. So I guess that's the main sort of feeling. But
yeah. I mean, if there's two people there, you're kind of like, so we
it's
practice
difficult,
for
us.
Yeah.
I think it's that. I don't know if you are the same, but for me, it's like it's kind of a weird mixture between like extreme happiness, which is what I feel when I do play on stage, and it's, as you say, it's going well and all that. But also like, especially for drums, it's very much an instrument that you can take out frustrations and anger on. Yeah. So like I've said loads of times, like if I didn't play drums, I'd just be a really angry wee guy, and like because I play drums, it helps me get that out. Yeah. But also in the same way, it's being on stage and playing is a really nice and joyful experience as well.
Absolutely, spot on.
Thanks.
When it comes to recording music as well, you brought out Cobra again back in April now.
Something like that.
Yeah, April. I think
so. Yeah.
That song had been out once before.
Yeah.
How did the feeling of putting it out this time compare to the first time you put it out?
To be honest, don't want to ruin the illusion here. We didn't re-record it. It was just like there was a bit of a mess up somewhere, and it got taken down a while back. Re-releasing it, it was partly because it's a song that we still play live. And generally we still finish with live, and it's a song that's a big favourite of people who come and see us.
Yeah.
But it's not online, so it's kind of like if people are new to the band and they've heard that song, because it's like a big moment when you finish, and then they've heard that song, and then they go and look you up and it's not there, it's a bit like, oh. So we wanted to get it back out. And also it was, with everything that's happened going into lockdown, just getting something else out there, because you're limited in what you can actually do at the moment. So we have that song sitting there, and we just wanted to put it back out. Yeah. It wasn't like, when you put a new song out, it can be quite scary, but with Cobra this time, I didn't really feel...
Nah.
Like when we posted, we posted like a little video before we released it, like telling people it was going to be released, and like most people who responded to it were just like, oh, brilliant, because they knew the song already.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, oh, I wonder what this will sound like.
Yeah.
It was still like, it was still quite exciting though to like have something out that you could like share amongst friends and stuff. Under the circumstances, like not being able to really do anything, it was good to bring something out just to get a bit excited about, even though we'd already had out before and it was an old recording, but it was still good, like just to get it out.
I mean, the world you were releasing it into this time was quite a different world to the world you put it out in a couple of years back or a few years back. How much of an impact do you think the context the song is released into and the kind of setting it's released into has upon the way people kind of perceive it and how it affects them?
I think like when you're like, I mean, as a band, like when you release a song like that, I think you're like, oh, I can't wait to like see it live. Whereas now people are just like, oh man, probably won't see that live till next year, like, which is a bit gutting.
Probably more people listening to it though, to be fair.
That's true.
Like, not just going, it's a release, I'm not going to listen to it.
Cool.
We've actually got the time to actually listen to it. But
I mean, streaming services must have. I mean, they must be one of these, like one of the areas in the world right now that are absolutely raking it in.
Yeah.
So like,
more so
it's good that people are being able to listen to it more now. Like more, as you're right, more people will be listening to it. But like, also you're right in the way that it's gotten because like I'm the same. The albums that I've listened to that have come out in lockdown, you listen to them and there's so many songs. I'm like, I cannot wait to see that live. And then you have a moment where you're like, I don't know if I'll get to see that live, which is upsetting.
Yeah.
To round this up, then, what would you say you've learned most about each other as a result of performing in a band together?
I mean, with these two, about like myself or about with them, sorry.
What have you learned most about those?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, I've known, the thing with Mark is I've known him for years and played with bands with him before, so I kind of knew everything I had to know. You know what I mean?
So cheesy.
He's such, I know. No, I mean, like, both of them anyway are like just so laid back. And I knew of Callum in terms of drumming, with like hearing about him playing in other bands and saw like a few videos here and there, but I didn't know like the full extent of like, oh my God, man, like just how much you hit the drums and like, it's crazy. Like, I've learned so much about, even like, I said earlier on, I wasn't a drummer, but I've learned a wee bit about how to drum properly from Callum and how to. I mean, that's a good thing.
I don't know if I would take advice from me, mate.
I probably would. No, I don't know. Like, and then like there's like little stuff like Mark will play that riff in the bass, and I'm like, how do you even come up with that? And it's not like ridiculously intricate, but it's like just really creative. And there's some stuff I'll pick up from him too. And as I said earlier on, I like kind of bouncing ideas off these guys, and I'm finding it more easier to kind of come up with ideas and sharing it with them more than everything else. So they're laid back too, and they're kind of open to kind of putting up with my shit. So yeah,
I mean, like, there's been a lot of things like I've learned about like the two of them, like because when we first started, Harv and I knew each other, so we're pals, but I didn't know Callum really at all. And then when you're in a band, and because we spent so much time together and like done so many gigs and done gigs down south and stuff as well, and travelled together, and like we've done stuff like out with band stuff as well. So I've actually learned a lot about the two of them beyond like music stuff, and there's like a lot of like amazing qualities they've got, and a lot of, like they're just like best friends now. So in that sense, I've learned so much about them to get to that point. So
yeah, I think so as well. I think like in terms of music, like I didn't really know. I hadn't seen you play at all, and I'd maybe seen you play once or something, and like I didn't really know how good you actually were. And as soon as we started playing together from that first rehearsal, it was very evident how good you both were at what you were doing, which is great. But then I agree with you. I think like, and not only that, like I think in the last few years, like how long have we been playing? Like 3 years, something like that. It's like
4 actually.
4 years, but like in the last few years, I feel like we've all. Well, I know that I have, and I don't want to speak on your behalf, but I feel like we've all kind of grown up a lot.
Absolutely, yeah.
And not just musically, yes, musically, but also just like in our personal lives, and I think it, like we've learned a lot about each other, but also learned a lot from each other, and everything that's gone on in our lives, musically and non-musically, to kind of get to where we are now. And I think now we're at this stage where we're the best musically and non-musically we've ever been.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Individually and as a three-piece. And I think that's just good to learn from each other. And I totally agree with you. It's like, didn't really know each other before we started it. It was just a bit of a laugh because we worked together. And now we're just like 3 best friends. Yeah. And that's class.
Hope you weren't hoping for like a one-word answer for each.
You mentioned there though about, seeing qualities in your bandmates when you kind of go on the road with them and stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of discover new things about them. Which quality do you admire most about your bandmates? It's a question for everyone.
Aye, thanks. What do I admire most?
I'll go if you want to think.
You go.
I would say about Harv. I think that Harv is one of the like in terms of like just people that I've met in my life, I think Harv is one of the most just like really, he's just such an optimistic person, and he doesn't really let much kind of get in his way. And when something does annoy Harv, it's funny because like he doesn't usually get that annoyed. So when he does get annoyed, he's really annoyed, and it's just quite funny to see because he's just such an optimistic, positive person. I think that's a really nice quality to have. And I think Mark, it's just like one of the like, I don't even know how to put this, but like for someone of our age, Mark is one of the most like, just one of the most well-rounded people in terms of everything. He's you know, you're great at being a wee idiot, and when you're steaming, you're a fucking laugh. But also like you're like when you're not, you're also like the person who can calm everyone down and bring everyone back together, and it's just like very like I don't know if that's the right way to put it. That's a lot of qualities, but that's what I like about you, mate.
Thing about
Love that.
the thing about like,
And his head.
You know.
I mean, like, the thing about Callum too. I mean, it's funny because Callum's like the youngest out of us all. But he's, I don't know. Sometimes I get the feeling that he's probably the most grown up too, because I don't know that he plans everything really well, and that's one thing that being serious, like that's one thing that I probably learned the more. Like Callum likes to plan everything really like well and outline everything and timeline everything, which is cool. I like that, and I think that's you kind of need someone like that in a band, and that's a really good quality to have in your band. Anyone else, and yeah, Mark, you're a well-rounded person. Yeah.
Don't need to say any more about me, man. Now it's on me.
You need to top that.
I can't. Like Harv, like probably what Callum's saying. Like Harv, just he is very positive, like happy Harv. Just he's quite optimistic about stuff, and like doesn't generally get that pissed off about things, but. Maybe he does, I don't know.
Inside.
Maybe he's thinking like, oh,
wait till you hear these song lyrics.
I know. Callum. What can I say about Callum? I was just like, Callum's like caring, like compassionate type as well. Like, that's a big thing. And like out with like music stuff, I've learned a lot from Callum. Just to be a bit more compassionate with everything. That's just what a guy.
Thanks.
Absolute
That's so
belter.
So kind.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Cheers.